Can you test?
It's okay?
Yes. Is it okay? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I just wanted to explain what this project is.
Yeah.
It's a project in Indian documentary film, and I'm researching this whole area, which I think is under-examined. In the usual books, people really don't pay any attention to documentary.
Yeah.
You are primarily known for your feature films, but at the same time you've made many documentaries, and I'd like to discuss the three that I've seen, Contours of Linear Rhythm, The Catch, and Home Away from Home.
That's right.
And then maybe talk a little bit about the position of documentary in general in India, and perhaps a little bit about what I think is a kind of documentary sensibility in your feature films. Maybe just ask for your general comments about the situation. These three documentaries that I have just seen, they're all privately produced, aren't they?
Yeah, all of them. All of them are produced privately. And two of them which I've seen, that The Catch and Home Away from Home, is made by three of us, myself, my cameraman and another friend working in the forest department.
Yes.
So it's almost a sort of a it's not a very much a business activity at the moment, but we do it more with a lot of concern over what is happening, especially in Kerala, where a lot of deforestation happens indiscriminately. The forests are all vanishing so fast, and the natural flora, fauna is disappearing very much. So mainly with the concern of that, we started a small group of three of us, and we do that. So we've done two films also before on the preservation of forest and things like that, which we call the nature series, which we do.
What were those other titles?
One is called the Brown Landscape.
Yes.
And then quite a few short films also, quickies, on the same subject, on forest preservation mainly.
And the name of the group is MAS, is it?
MAS. MAS, in fact, denotes the first letter of the name of three of us.
The three names, I see.
Madhavan, Aravindan and Shaji, MAS.
And do you see this issue of the environment as a political issue?
Naturally, at one stage, such activity became a bit political, since that the things we pose may be against the policies the government take. So that way, indirectly, it can be political also. But our main concern is not all political, but to make the people aware about what's happening around us now. Our seasons are changing fast. There's no rains now. So a lot of things are happening around us now. So we thought we must make the people aware about that. So in fact, that is our main concern when we started making short films of this sort. But yes, then we have got a plan of doing such things in future also like that. Yeah.
Who is your intended audience for these nature films?
Mainly we would like to have it in the schools. Yeah, show it to the school, college going children. Of course. We thought that's the right time when people should know about it, so that they can be aware about things while they grow up. Yeah.
And you're making several language versions? I saw the English versions, I believe.
Yeah, in fact, all of them are with English commentaries now.
Yes.
But we have kept the international track so that you can do the commentary in any language and do that now. So the other sounds are all mixed and kept separate. So instead of English, we can have any other language if you want it.
And speaking of commentary, I think you would agree that the traditional curse of Indian documentary is the commentary, and that the films divisions has perpetrated an atrocity over the years with their commentaries. Were you conscious of this problem as you were working in these nature series?
Yes, because my feeling is that both the film on the bird, migrating birds, and the film on elephant capture, we put only minimum commentary that is required to connect the visuals. So whatever is seen is not being said in both these.
Yes, I thought this, in both cases, the commentary was very much restrained.
Yeah, we try to restrain as much as possible.
Still, the voice is a little bit, we call it a voice of God in the West. It's a little bit authoritarian.
I understand what you mean by that, yes. Because one problem is getting the real kind of people to do the commentary according to the visuals or the theme. So in one case, in fact, the commentary is recorded blind. In the sense that the commentator had never seen the film.
Yes.
He never had the occasion to do that. So especially the film on the birds.
Yes.
We also felt that the commentary is not suitable for the theme as such, for the delicate theme which we deal with. The commentary is a bit harsh, standing apart. So we are conscious about that, what you said, the commentary.
Terry, I thought in both The Catch and The Home Away from Home, towards the end of the film you made a comment connecting the nature theme to the social world. It was very implicit, I mean it was very ambiguous, and I'm just wondering how direct you wanted to be.
I'll try to explain. In the case of The Catch, that's part of a series which we are planning.
Yes.
So there's going to be one film before that. That's how the elephants live in the forest, in the habitat, natural habitat, with how they live, how they mate, how they all the biological activities of the elephant in the forest and the real surroundings. We have short part of that, so that'll be one. So this last sentence of this commentary on The Catch has got something to do with the next film which we are going to make, on how the elephants are trained for different type of work, and how it's been trained to be very much a domestic animal later.
So this comment, it's something like, must born free...
That's a very famous saying which we thought we can use that.
What is it again?
Born free should live free. So something like that.
So you're not implying any analogy between the animal world and the human social world?
Not very much, in fact. I thought that since that's the end of that particular chapter of the film, so that will be all right. So that when we are going to show it within the enclosure next time, that will got some relevance.
Yes.
So the next film will start with the elephant in the enclosure and how it is being taught different things.
For me, the images of the trained elephants pushing the little wild elephants into the cage were so overwhelming that I thought you must be thinking in broader terms.
Yeah, that's there. So that's why the next one, without any other elephants, within the enclosure, this single elephant is being trusted, then being tortured and trained. So to some extent it's a torture, but later these elephants will be treated in all comforts when you go to a landlord's place or a temple, like that. So it's a series where I thought that last sentence may be relevant to some extent.
It must have been very difficult to film, and I think a lot of it is constructed in the editing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. It was a random shooting at the time of the taking it out of the pit. We heard that the two elephants are in the pit somewhere, near some forest nearby. So we just rushed in, and for these 2 days work to do the shooting of the elephants being taken out. So the latter part, in fact, we shot later, the habitat and things like that, or how it is being made, the educational or rather documentation part we took later and added to it.
It was clear that the actual incident of the entrapment was completely reconstructed later.
That's true.
But it was done so brilliantly with the editing that
That's true. It's been done later.
It's almost imperceptible.
Yeah, we can't be sure when an elephant will fall in a pit. It happens so unexpectedly. So that is a pit there for a few years now. Since they fell that time.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So the scene where they're digging the pit was later?
Again done later.
I see. There was also some... Are you closing it? Okay. Can you close it?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. There was also some remarkable footage in The Home Away from Home. You were using telephoto, were you?
Not much.
Not much?
No, not much.
So obviously that required a lot of...
That's a very interesting situation. I think you'll be interested to know about that. This particular village where these birds comes every year from the Himalayas and north, there the people are so much involved that they give all facilities to these birds to nestle there. So they won't disturb it. They will even put guards to see that nobody else come and disturb in the night. So by this, by the natural sort of communion, whatever, within days' time, the birds get sure about the people around them, and we can go so close to them and shoot in that particular village where we did that. So we were never using telephoto lens at all.
And there again, I think the narrative sequence was reconstructed with some very skillful editing, wasn't it?
Actually, not much, because we went thrice, and of course, editing, of course, we made some rearrangements, but it's all done as it is in 3 different shooting schedules. Within 4 months' time, when they come, they make the nest, they mate, lay eggs, feed the young ones and go away. So some of the shots, of course, the shots of coming and going are done at the same time. So we went there when we know that the birds are coming, start coming. So we waited for 2-3 days and did quite a few shots of the birds flying. So the same shots we used at the end also, where the movement is the other way around, so that he feels it's going away.
They're amazing. They're beautiful shots.
Thank you.
Do you see this nature theme as being connected to some of the other work that's being done in India? For example, the Bhopal, which is in a way also about...
Yeah. But we haven't gone to that sort of activity where we expose a lot of things where the government is going wrong, or where the government is trying to suppress a genuine movement. So we are not that much politically oriented at the moment, but we thought this again is as important as that, to make the people aware about what's happening around you, the nature. Ultimately, if the sort of approach the people have towards nature in exploiting it and destroying it is going to happen, we feel that we are going to end up in a big catastrophe, or very sad end. So almost or even more than political thing, we feel this is very important.
It's the survival of not only the country but the planet.
That's right. That's right.
So even ultimately it's connected to the nuclear issue too, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was interested.
My last film was almost on that subject.
The nuclear issue?
No, not exactly, but some sort of a parallel, a parable.
What's it called?
Urudatta.
Urudatta.
Once Upon a Time. The last feature film.
Oridat.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, I haven't seen that yet. Traditionally, nature films in India have been very safe and conventional with the films division. I mean, it's been a way for documentary filmmakers to avoid all social issues completely, and so I'm very impressed to see that they've been turned around with your work.
Because in the Indian context, documentary filmmaking is almost sort of monopoly of the government. The film distribution do that. Even if somebody else make a film, they have to depend or approach the film distribution to buy it. So for any producer, director, or any person who is depending upon documentary filmmaking alone, it's very, very difficult to go on working here in the Indian context. Accepting that now, since with the TV, some of these films can enter into another sphere and get some money back. Otherwise, filmmaking totally depends upon the film division's decision on that.
Have you made films for them? I can't remember.
Just made one before.
What was that?
It was on the great philosopher J. Krishnamurti. There's a film on him.
I see.
Called The Seer Who Walks Alone. It was a 1 hour film.
And is that a film you feel proud of, or is that a film that you feel you had to?
I'm very happy with that film, yes. I took 2 years to complete that because
When was this?
It is completed in '86.
So it was right in '86. So it's just after Chidaramban.
I took 2 years, in fact, because Krishnamurti always comes once in a year to India and goes back. He will be here for 3 months. So I shot during his 2 visits here. The first, and in fact, I was lucky so that during the last visit before his death, I could do a lot of shooting with him in Benares, in Bombay, Madras, like that.
How is it that you were able to do work with the films division that you feel responsible for without making any compromises?
Because I've never done the film I said about Krishnamurti. I could do without any sort of compromises because there was no sort of restrictions whatsoever. Because even I could do without a script. I said this is the idea on which I'm going to work. So they agreed.
Is this because you were already a prestigious director that they allowed you to do it with such freedom?
Not exactly. It may be one of the reasons, but again, the consultant was a well-known person called Pupu Jekar. She was very much with the JK movement and with him also. So when she agreed to what I'm going to do, naturally the institution never posed any problem.
When you work without a script like that, I assume it's also true of contours of linear rhythm.
Yeah.
You construct the script in the editing, I assume.
Yeah, true.
And I'm going to probably see Krishnamurti in Bombay, but is the structure of Krishnamurti similar to the structure of contours?
No, not very much. No, because Krishnamurti was a person who talks always. He's talking always to people. Sort of dialogues or discussions or speeches also, but not. It is more a sort of thing aloud, different things in life, contemplating about that. So the film also has a lot of talking, mainly Krishnamurti talking to people.
So it's organized around his thoughts?
Yeah.
Whereas the one on the artist, Contours, is organized around, it seems like the different media, isn't it?
In fact, the artist is so well known to me for the last 25 years. So there's no need for a script at all. I know what to be done with him. So my concern there was about his sketches, the lines, which is so important. So the things which he does otherwise, like sculpture or wooden reliefs, those are all I want to show to come to this linear structure of the man, this drawing. That's why I thought of having a discussion in general, without mentioning about him at all. The discussion the other three artists are doing. Mention nothing about this art, but they discuss about the relevance of linear rhythm in Indian context. So indirectly, it's almost a discussion on this man again. It comes to that. That's why I did it.
And this final image of him sitting with this huge pile of rock, what did you What was the connection you were?
So there he's just, it's a sort of monologue.
Mm-hmm.
He's thinking about his ambition in life. Try a big granite structure with paintings, drawings.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, put him in a surrounding almost, the raw material which he wants for that will be okay. Because the raw material he wants for his ambitious project, he mainly rocks. So put him in an environment and think about how he was going to transform if he gets an occasion, the rocks into a totally different, meaningful thing. I thought it would be okay.
Mm-hmm. This subject also has been traditionally a very conventional one for the films division, artists and ethnographic culture. So I think here also you are able to overturn what has been one of the areas of Indian documentary that's been so important.
Well, that this film on the artist is done by a film society here. Chalachitra. So I have no hope that film will be taken by the film division for screening.
Mm-hmm.
So we may have to find out some other avenue to show it to people now.
There's currently no other circuit of distribution
No, unfortunately, no.
No. Do you think film societies across the country would be interested in?
Yeah, they will be naturally interested, but the film society movement is not that strong, so that it can go to a lot of people or to get the money from what little the film societies can afford in screening such films.
Mm-hmm.
The only avenue by which we can get the money back is TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about video distribution?
It's not very active, and video distributing system never buys this sort of films.
I see. So you're really dependent on whatever commercial circuits exist. Has there been any interest in Doordarshan?
No, I just don't know, because only just now it is being completed, 2 months back.
How is our time doing?
It's 10:15.
Okay, so we've got lots of time. Can we maybe talk a little bit about the documentary sensibility in your feature films? Because I think it's very important.
But I think critics said, and I also know to some extent, that 2 of my films were a lot of documentary touch. It was almost like a docu-feature.
Mm-hmm. Tampu?
And Devtu.
Devtu, which I've missed. Certainly it's true of Tampu, which means circus tent.
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
I was really struck by the way you mixed professional actors with non-professional performers. And used the documentary setting of the village and the activities of the circus.
Because certain things, in fact, I got by chance, because I don't frame certain things in the sense that those people were seeing circus for the first time in their life. So the responses, the reactions of these people are all genuine. It's not created.
This was clear.
Yeah. So what I did was, the first time I just announced that there's going to be a free circus in the village. So anybody who wants to see it, come and see it. You know? So we were standing in the arena when the performance was going on. So naturally, with the lights and things like that, initially the people were a bit nervous or conscious. But once the performance started, they were so immersed in the performance, they just forgot us and reacted very honestly. So those reactions we took first before we started shooting the video.
They were amazing.
Yeah.
They reminded me, I don't know whether you've ever seen Vertov's Man with a Movie Camera.
No.
In some of his films, he also just looks for a long time at the faces of children while they're watching a magician. And you get that same kind of, and some Cuban films also, you get this kind of rapt attention. It's very beautiful. And it's also true just of this village setting as a whole, and of the life within this circus community. How did you get this kind of cooperation from the circus performers?
I had some contact with the circus people even before. Because some years back, I was doing a few interviews for a paper, introing circus people and doing that. So again, most of the circus people in India come from one village, north. So I had some contact there also. Then again, we were living together in the village. No, we were not separate. The circus group separate, we separate. But within 2-3 days or a week's time, the understanding and rapport was so good. They are so free with us. So that's how we could do that sort of thing.
It was amazing. And two of the very key moments for me were those monologues, straight to the camera by the two performers.
Yeah.
Was this an accident also, or were you?
No, I wanted it very much. But the things they say is their own life. It's not fiction. The man's name is Narayanan. He said, my name is Narayanan. I come from this village. So I am this year old, and I am dying every day as a clown. So that's his own words. Again, the old lady also, what she says is on her own personal life. So that way it is very intense and true.
For a listener who hasn't seen the film, the old lady says that she was sold to the circus at the age of 10 and has been with them ever since. It's a very dramatic moment in a film that has been mostly much more spectacular than this kind of intimacy.
That sort of a documentary character I have kept in Oridatu also very much, where electricity comes to a village. The begins with the panchayat, the local administrative body, announcing that there's going to be electricity in the village shortly. Government is interested, they are bringing the things like that. So it starts with the jeep coming with the engineer to supervise, and the material starts coming, electricity in the village, and then the problem starts. And finally, the entire village catches fire almost in a festival from the electricity.
And to a certain extent, you might, I haven't seen a Stepan, but it sounds as if there's a certain documentary sensibility there too, in the sense that it's a real personage who's performing. Are you continuing in this direction in your next features, or?
Most probably. This is the way I feel totally at ease in doing.
Which isn't doing? Sorry?
This way of sort of documentation and episodes without a well-knit structure. So excepting in Chidambaram, in all the other cases I was doing almost same sort of thing. Without a very strong, defined storyline. I keep episodes together and connect them, interacting together and going to a sort of surmise.
I too thought Chidambaram was an exception in the sense that it was so tightly controlled and such a star picture.
Yes, it is based on a short story also. Otherwise, I used to make my own stories for them.
The circus film and the film about the artist sort of ties into, I think, another theme throughout your work in terms of the cultural preservation.
Yes.
You're not only interested in natural preservation, but also cultural preservation in Kerala. That's obviously also has a political overtone for you.
Socio-political, in the sense that, especially, I know that sort of people who go to some other country, live there for their full life, but come back, somehow strangely they come back to that same old village and live there as a recluse. I know several people like that. Instead of staying back in the country where they live, they had their life throughout, strangely they come back to their village. Many of them comes back. But once they are back, they are totally the situation changes totally, politically, sociologically, environment changes. So they almost become a recluse. That's why in the circus stand, I show the man spending time with another person who is also back from some other country or from the same country. So they think about the past glorious life in the other country, but live here strangely. That's a rare phenomenon, especially in Kerala context. They always comes back strangely. So that's a very important socio-political situation happening here. That is going to be very much now with the people from Gulf coming back. They have start coming back now.
These are workers from Kerala who are working in the Gulf states.
Yeah.
Yes.
What happened is they were mainly workers here, but they make a lot of money and have big houses here, car, and once they come back, they cannot go back to their vocation. Their lifestyle changes. That's one important, very important, interesting theme I'm thinking of working now. About these people who comes back, but they are totally alien from their the thing which they knew traditionally. Even the carpenters or blacksmiths, they were traditional people from centuries. They do the same thing here, but they stop it, go there for fast money, quick money. But once they come back, they can't go back to their traditional job, traditional vocation.
It's true. They're not like those birds.
Yes.
Completely uprooted.
Yeah.
I guess this problem of modernization is really there in the backdrop
very much,
in all of your films, isn't it?
Instead of living with nature, they are trying to conquer nature and exploit it.
I'd like to maybe just go through your filmography to make sure that I know about all your documentaries, because in the books they never mention them. They're not considered important, and yet I'm just curious about that.
Because documentary filmmaking is almost subsidiary activity here.
I know in Aruna Vasudev's book, with you and with everyone else, she says, and here he made a couple documentaries and then went on to his next feature.
Just left like that.
So your first documentary was it before or after Uttarayanam?
After.
What was that?
First one was again a biography.
Biography?
Yeah, of a very well-known writer, philosopher, but known only to Malayalis. You know, that famous person outside. But was a very remarkable person.
What was it called?
It's based on his name, VT. He is known among friends as VT. VT, that is the initials.
And this was 75 or around there?
No, it was much later. It was in 82.
82.
Yeah.
So you really didn't start making documentaries until very recently?
Yeah.
What's prompted you to... Was this a dry period in your features? Or?
No, actually, I became a filmmaker almost, I won't say accident, but I never thought that I would be able to make films, even though I wanted very much, because, you know, filmmaking is a very expensive affair. So, but I was doing more work in cartoon, book design, that sort of work I was doing, graphics mainly. And we had a group of people, artists, writers. The artist on whom I made a film was in our group, like that. So other writers. So one of my friend writer told me that we can make a film now. He can arrange the money. That's how I started working on my first film, Uttarayanam. So with that film, I just indulged in make films like that. So it was nothing planned like that. First make a documentary, then wait, and like that. It was the other way around. I started making a film straight away.
And then your next film came 3 years later, Conscience Sita, which is also very interesting from an ethnographic and documentary point of view, isn't it? In the sense that you have unprofessional performers.
Yeah, there I think the ethnographical aspect is a bit important, in the sense that the main characters were enacted by tribals.
Yes.
and it's a film based on the epic Ramayana,
Yes.
which is very much in the mind of every Indian. So I had quite a big problem when I started making a film with tribals as the character God incarnate. Sri Rama is God incarnate.
Yes.
So depicting Rama using a tribal made a lot of problem at one time.
It was a kind of scandal?
To some extent, yes, but I had a lot of conviction when I did that, because these tribal group believe that they belong to Rama's dynasty. Strangely, I never knew that. When I talked to them, they said we belong. Rama's dynasty is called Ikshwaku. So they said they belong to that dynasty. But my concern was mainly the visual or their physical form, because they almost live with their lifestyle, not much changed very much 2 centuries. So they had tuft of hair like that, with the bow and arrow. They always walk in the forest. So that's that image of Rama and Lakshmana which I had, also from the paintings and sculpture. So these people just look like that to me. That's why I took them.
So in a sense, this film is also about cultural defense or
Yeah.
preservation.
And some even said that it's blasphemous to do that. I said I never meant that way.
Of course, compared to the television serial,
Yeah.
this one is
Yeah.
the most...
Yeah, this almost juxtaposes to
Yes.
the other one.
And what has happened to this group afterwards?
They went back to
Did they like the film?
I could not show them at all. I could not trace them later.
Really?
Yeah. I wanted to show them the film, but I could not do that.
Isn't that interesting? So then the next year is Tampu, and then the next year is Kumati,
Yeah.
and Estepan,
Yeah. Pokville.
Pokaveya,
Yeah.
and then you made Viti.
Yeah.
And then what comes next?
Then I was doing small sort of documentaries in between, because this is the period when between 81 and 85
Yes.
I never had a chance to make a feature film because there was no producer for me.
Yes.
That time I do all sort of films for commercials and to live, to have an existence. So then I do 5, 6 documentaries, but nothing very important at all. Just made for some organizations like CARE, or people like that, on how immunization should be done to children, any sort of advisory things. Again, I was doing a film for the organization I was working with. I was working in a semi-government organization called the Rubber Board.
Rubber Bowl?
Yeah. So I was a technical officer there. So I was making a series of films on how rubber is to be planted and maintained, to be shown to farmers. So that kind of assorted work I was doing in between. So then I found out that the best thing is to make films in one's own way, without a producer. So Chidambaram I produced myself. So that's going on. I've got my own production company now. I make films whenever I want. I'm totally free now. No, I'm not running after producer now, not anymore.
Was this possible because Chidambaram was such a commercial success?
Yeah, but yes, I got some money profit, but the distributor got a lot of money, in fact.
This is always true.
Yeah.
And so have we talked about the major documentaries? After VT, the next one that you think would be significant would be...
Or Krishnamurti, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now these nature series.
Yeah. Now I'm making quite a few documentaries also now with this. Mainly biographies, because I'm making a film on E.M.S. Namboodiripad, the famous Marxist theoretician, leader.
What's his name?
E.M.S. Namboodiripad, very well known person.
EMS?
Namboodiripad.
Namboodiripad?
Yeah.
And are you departing in any way from what you've already done in your biographies, or is it...
I only just started. I started working when EMS was here for the election campaigns. So I got quite a few of his meetings and gatherings. That's with me now. Now I want to find out how to go about it further. Maybe I started an interview with the man himself, which has agreed.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Another one on V.K. Krishna Menon, who is no more, the famous politician again. He was a defense minister once and
He's a
great freedom fighter for us.
Radhakrishnan.
Krishna Menon.
Krishna Menon.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. He was defense minister at one time. Oh, yes, in the 50s under Nehru.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
So how are you doing that? That's sort of unusual for you to be doing something about it.
Yeah, there I'm going to depend upon a lot of materials all the available with the UN in London in film distribution.
Are there good materials available?
Yeah, quite a lot. Yeah.
Normally, films division archival materials are pretty terrible.
Yeah, not properly preserved. They're pretty bad.
Yeah.
But United Nations is having quite a lot of coverages. Yeah.
So
I understand there are some relevant material in London also. So I'm trying to contact the people concerned.
So as an editor, you will have lots of fun piecing together.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah.
Do you participate very actively in the editing?
So yes, I do myself.
You do the editing yourself?
In the sense that there will be one person to operate the machine, but I sit with him and do that.
Yeah. So you work at every phase of it?
Every aspect I look into.
You said you started making films quite by accident, and you did not come from the Film Institute, but you were working in cartoons and music and theater. Yeah. Do you think this has resulted in your making films and documentaries with a different sensibility than some of those people from the Film Institute?
In fact, Mr. Thomas, I don't know how to compare myself with other people, but as I said, my filmmaking was not in the regular order, because normally what people do, after the film school training, they start making short films and documentaries, and gradually they graduate into making feature films and hold on there. But in my case, I never had that sort of training or conditioning, or discipline rather. So I do whatever I find okay without any sort of bondage. So to me, documentaries are as important as feature films.
Do you think that the situation is going to change? This press release from yesterday demanding a higher profile for documentary, do you think there will be any change in that situation?
I don't believe so long it's with the government. Because now it seems the government wants more activity on the TV than filmmaking. Because for the political aims, that's more important. They can convey the message that the government want to distribute among people more effectively through TV. So they are almost set apart filmmaking as a secondary activity now.
They can control television better than they can control...
Controlling, and also the impact the television is having now is much more than films. Yeah, because those can afford to have their own TV sets, and otherwise in villages they have the kiosks, so-called kiosks, where the TV set is installed, and every evening the villagers gather and see that. So for the government, it's a more efficient mechanism to propagate what they want to do.
And they're not taking any independent work at all?
No. Only with their approval, total approval.
Do you see any hope in establishing an alternative network? I mean, here at the festival we've seen Bhopal, we've seen Anand Patwardhan's film. There seems to be activity in each region.
No, not very much, because those are all the isolated, sporadic activities. Because the film on Bhopal, they took, and they are just they can only show it in some festivals or some film societies. So they can't go to the people very much. But if that film is shown on the TV, actually lakhs and lakhs of people see that. But the government will never allow that film to be shown on TV.
Some of the local groups like Odessa and people like Anand try to handle their own circulation
Yeah.
and villages. Is that?
That's a brilliant idea-wise, but to put into practice, there's a lot of problems.
Yeah.
When Odisha has got financial problems and problem of taking 6 infrastructure to the people. So even with all the youngsters of Odisha, they cannot permit very much so far. But an idea is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the practice is something else.
Yeah, very difficult to get this. Because, it's such an expensive medium, especially in the context.
And what about in the schools? You're making educational films now. How will they be distributed
Because
in the schools?
what the government makes are very bad films for the children, right? So if we can permeate in that area, like with showing the films on nature series like that, we are very happy to do that. Even we are ready to give the prints for on prints cost, just on cost, the schools they want it. Without any profit.
Well, I hope that works. Has it already started to make an inroad into
Yeah, there is in fact some inroads are already made by Odisha. Anand of course is showing films in film societies or cities. You cannot go further than that. But as a movement, if it catches the momentum, definitely be an alternate or parallel system.
Well, let's hope.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to add? I think I've covered the territory.
Yeah. I think so. That's okay.
Okay. So why don't I turn off the camera?
Thank you, Mr. Thomas.
How uncomfortable this mic is.